Hey guys, Steph here. I'm going to teach you how I rewire appliances. And these are things that if you find a hairdryer in the dumpster, you can rewire it, make it work. But I'm just going to do a little disclaimer here. I'm not a professional. This is just the way that I do it. Works great for me, works fine for me. I'm sure there's better ways, but it's a cheap way that I do it. I've got just some basic little tools that you're going to need. One of them is a soldering iron. You're going to need this for sure. So it's a little kit. You can get it on Amazon. It comes in a little box. Mine does. You don't have to get this one. If you know anybody that has one, you can just use theirs. But it's a little kit, soldering iron kit. And I use this thing a lot. You're going to want some electrical tape. You can get this at any hardware store. You could probably get this soldering iron at any hardware store. I think I got mine on Amazon. You're going to need some solder. It's going to come in your kit. Your little soldering iron comes with, if you get the kit, has a little stand. This thing gets so hot, it will blister you. So be careful. And then you're going to want some sleeves. You could just get a little thing of sleeves like this. These are heat shrink tubes. This one is called, heat shrink tube. I got a set off Amazon because I realized I'm going to run into these all the time. I just had a couple little pieces just around. But I actually decided I need to get some different sizes. So this little kit that I got here has black and white, the most common colors that you're going to find cords. But I went and bought some gray ones because that hairdryer that I repaired, that dry bar one that I found in the dumpster, it's gray. This toothbrush, electronic toothbrush thing here is gray. So I'm running into some of these that have gray. So I decided I'll just get it. It was a couple bucks for this many different little sizes and pieces. I think I got them on eBay for a few dollars, shipped. This little kit I like though. It has a bunch of different sizes and it's got some black and white options here. So these are heat shrink tubes. They're basically like a band-aid for your cord. So after you get it all separated and rewired, put that little band-aid on there and you shrink it on there so it keeps it nice and tight, kind of glues it on. Here's my dry bar hairdryer that I found in the trash. ULTA Dumpster. This is my band-aid on there. It's not so pretty. It's lumpy. I've gotten better at doing this since then, so I'm actually going to rewire this one with my gray that just came in, and it should look nice and pretty. And I'm actually going to move, I think, going to try to peel this back and move my repair underneath this sleeve and then pull it back on top of it. That way it really hides it. So I'm just going to lose about this much cord, which isn't much because this is actually a really long hairdryer cord. The reason I didn't do it in the beginning up under there was a lot of times when you use a hairdryer, I like to have every added inch because I'll stand up and dry my hair or walk around and do other things while I'm doing it. So I didn't want to lose it. But this one actually is way longer than my normal hairdryer cord, so I'm going to rewire that. The one I'm going to do right now is this Babyliss Pro hairdryer. I've got some, I got a bunch of stuff I need to do. I've got another one of these I found too, a Babyliss Pro flat iron. I've got a bunch of Chi flat irons here that I need to do. I mean, when I say a bunch, I mean, I got a bunch. I also have a curling iron. And one thing you want to look for if you're dumpster diving is look for the cord, because this hairdryer, and the box if you got one, this hairdryer, if you can find the actual cord that came with it, that's even better. This hairdryer had the cord outside the bag that this was in. It was just floating around in the trash. But the cord was in there. Same thing with that Babyliss flat iron. But all these other ones I have here have no cords. So I'm going to take a regular cord from any old appliance, basically. I've got a ton of them. We do liquidation, so if something is a DOA, like dead on arrival, it just didn't work, we'll keep it for parts. So I've got a whole wall of items that I'm using for parts. So I can go just clip off the cord because all I want to keep it for is like the knob or the lid or whatever part I might want to steal from my own appliance wall that I have there. So might as well steal a cord for something like this. So that's what I'm going to do. First one I'm going to do though, I've got a cord for it. So I'm going to show you guys how I do this, how I reattach a cord. I want to tell you guys I'm not a professional and I'm not an expert at this. So if you have any questions, you need to consult somebody who knows electricity. If you're nervous, have somebody help you. But if you're confident in it and you want to just try what I do, this is what I do. Okay, first thing you're going to do, I hope you guys can see this okay, is you're going to need to strip this wire. This wire, it's very important that you line up the black with the black and the white with the white inside this. It looks like there's some insulation around this wire. So, but behind it, inside there's a couple of wires. Okay, so what you want to do is you need a little knife or something just to kind of cut back this outer housing so you can see what's going on in here. I forgot to tell you, you might want some scissors and maybe a little straight edge of some sort. And you're going to need some wire cutters if you want. You don't have to. This is what I use. This is not my good set for wire stripping, but it saves some time. It's just a little tool that lets you strip off the plastic housing on your wires. I've got a good one of these. I cannot find it, and so I've got two junky ones here just sitting around. This hairdryer looks like it's got some insulation. Hopefully you guys can see. So there's a black wire and a white wire in here. You may not have a black and a white. You might have two black ones and one will be ribbed or have wording on it, or and the other one will just be smooth. So you always want to line up your smooth to your smooth and your ribbed to your ribbed, or your white to your white and your black to your black. If you don't have, if you're going to wire to a standard piece of wire and not the one that actually came with it, you won't know exactly which one, but what you have to do is the white is the ground and the ground is the ribbed one. So you need to make sure the white one or the one with the wording or the ribbed one, that one goes to the white, to the ground. Okay, so what we have to do is expose this so we can get to the wires. So you can either use some scissors to cut that thing back. And obviously, do not plug this in until the very, very end, or you will get electrocuted. Okay, so I'm going to cut some of this plastic back and the insulation. I just need to get at these wires to see what's going on here. And I need to be able to cut to have a tail. Enough material to work with here. Okay. So peeling these back, most wires that you're going to run across, I bet none of those curling irons or flat irons have any insulation in there. My other hairdryer didn't have any insulation in there, but I know vacuum cleaners and stuff often do. That's why it's a big thick round one. Just protects it a little bit from dangers, animals chewing it, whatever it might be. Okay, so I got a black and a white. I got a little bit of a tail sticking out here, which is good. I'm gonna need it. I might actually cut myself a little bit more. Just because I'm showing you guys. And there's plenty of extra cord on this to go. Okay, so these two little guys are exposed. Now I need to do the same on this one. Now, if you get your wire and it's cut way down here at the base, like this one, there isn't a lot of tail here to be playing with. Or this one even better. Zero tail. This is just some reinforced housing. You can see the soup on here. So you can actually cut this back and wire into it. I know a lot of people have said or will say, why don't you just solder it up here inside? And the reason is because of this. On most things it wouldn't matter, and you could do that. You could wire it straight into it. But on these bathroom type items, like the, you know, hair things, you want it to have this as much movement. There's a lot of movement that happens here. And you want to have this, they put this reinforcement here for a reason. So I want the weakness to be down here, not in here, because this is going to snap at some point if I wire it inside. Now, while a wire stripper, I guess I could cut this, but there's 2 wires in here and I don't want to lose any of that. So I'm just using scissors because it's easy to get to it. I can control it a little better. I used a straight razor or a razor like this before, which cuts it like butter, but I don't have as much control, and it would take me a while to get all these little hairs off, so this is just easier. Scissors with this padded part here. Okay, so I've got some tail here, tail here. So obviously white to white, black to black. So important to make sure you guys are doing that. Hopefully you can see this really well. You have to. There's nothing I can stress more than make sure you got the wires wired to the right one. The ground to the ground and the hot to the hot. I like to spread mine apart real far, because basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel off this white housing and this white housing, and then I'm going to solder these together, the little metal wires that are underneath, the copper, and then I'm going to tape it up with electrical tape, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the black, and then I'm going to tape that up so they don't touch. They cannot touch. You can't have any metal touch each other or it's really bad. So, and then I'm going to put a sleeve on there, and the sleeve I'm going to slip over it to protect it. So the sleeve, you need to make sure you grab one that's quite a bit thicker. Like this, I could squeeze it on there really tightly, but if I make an extra wide mess here, I need to have extra room. And you need to decide what size thickness. See, that's too tight here. It would fit on there and it would look pretty and everything, but I'm expecting to have an extra bulge here with all my tape, electrical tape that I'm putting there. So I'm going to go with a thicker tube than this, and this is why having a little variety, this little kit is pretty nice, because you can really have a lot of, like this one's huge, but it's going to shrink down, so it really doesn't matter. But I'm going to look for the best one. That's the one. This one looks like it's going to be a good one. There's wide, there's extra gap here. If it's thick, it'll do just fine. Okay, so on your tail end here, since I don't have any room here, you need to make sure you put this sleeve on before you actually do this, and it just needs to sit on here. Maybe I should do a little bit fatter than this one, actually. This big fat one. Okay, I'm gonna use this fat one on here, just because I tend to use extra tape and make it extra fat. So, okay, let's get to it. Now I need the wire cutters. Oops, let me make sure you guys can see. Wire stripper. I'm going to strip off the white on both. Again, if you don't have one of these wire strippers, you can see how it did that. I put it in there to the width of what I think it is. I mean, I don't even know. The one that looks like, if I look at how big this copper circle is, it looks like about that size of that one. I put it on there, clamp it, and it just cuts it. Twist it, and it just cuts it and strips just the little metal part off. It's pretty. So white to white. There we go. Exposed and exposed. I'm going to solder these two whites together. Like that. I can either put them in together like this, or I can pinch them together like this and then it'll have a big unicorn sticking out of it though. So this is the way I'm gonna do it. It's like that. But first, it'll be hard for me to get the black exposed if I don't do it beforehand. So I'm gonna strip that one too. I just have to keep it to where I can see which one's the white, which one's the black. Done. Okay, I've made a mess. Okay, so sleeve exposed. White, I know which one it is. Black, I know which one it is. I'm going to pry them really far apart just so I've got more room. All right, so how solder works is you can wear a mask if you want to. I'm just going to do it pretty fast. Sometimes I blow on it just to get the smell out of my face. It creates basically like a molten lava blob of metal, and it fuses these guys together, solders them together. So the easiest thing you kind of want to do is solder the direction they were going to go together, like the black's up top, the black's up top, the white's on the bottom, white's on the bottom. That way it makes it a little bit easier putting them back next to each other. I wish I had some sort of clamp here to hold this up. Prop it up on there. Get you guys down low. Okay. Okay. So with my wires smashed together, give them a little twist if you want. Basically what I'm going to do is heat up these wires really hot, and then I'm going to put the solder on there, which is very soft. Where is it? It's down here. My little tube of solder. And it's just going to melt right on there and glob them together. Okay. Soldering gun. It's hot. Really hot. I want to get these wires super, super hot. I'm going to prop this up with this. There we go. See my pretty blob? Okay, I probably used way more than I need, but I like to have extra. All right. You can just move your little blob around. Okay, when this cools, which it should cool pretty fast here, it'll be very hard. Do the reverse side. Okay, I can feel the heat coming through this wire. Okay, so that's on there pretty good right now. That's hard. I now need to put a piece of electrical tape around that. That's my white wire to my white wire, my electrical tape, because I can't let the black one touch it at all. Good. Now I gotta do the black side. Mesh those into each other. Solder time. Let's get this hot. slide my tape in through the hole between them. But I really want to make sure they're not touching, so I'm gonna start the wrap between them. See how it's got an extra wide blob going on there? That's why I needed this heat shrink tape to be there. So as you can see, both sides completely separated. They're not going to be touching each other in any way. If I wanted to, I could stick another little shield on there. But now I'm pulling this heat shrink tubing over, and I'm going to tuck it underneath this sleeve. Okay. Perfect. Okay, you want it completely hidden under. So what you need is a lighter or a heat gun. Seems crazy just to stick a lighter right on there, right? But that's what you do. Got my lighter going. See how it's just shrinking it up? So this melts the tubing on. Doesn't even stink. Not the prettiest. But I think there's like a glue in there that forms, because I can always see it a little bit sticking out of the edge here. So that's on there nice and tight. We'll let that sucker sit for a second. I'm not going to plug that in until that's totally cold. Not bad. I mean, it's got a lump here. Nothing I can do about it though. But you know how I was saying all the pressure is in this area here. So when you're blow drying your hair, it's moving around a lot. I didn't want to wire it up in here and have it be in there wiggling around without this extra reinforcement. They put that there for a reason. So I would rather have the cut be back here where it's not getting used as much. I'd rather have it be way down here, but I don't have that option in this cord. So there's my hair dryer. It's still warm in there. Not hot, but it's warm. This is the original cord that came with it. Let's test out the hair dryer. Here we go. Ooh, that's nice. Nice. Everything feels good. Cord isn't hot. That is working perfectly. Woohoo! Nice one, ULTA. Thank you for my new hair dryer.